A couple years ago, when I was into my fitness journey and looking relatively decent, I found myself still feeling really rubbish, right? Because I originally got into fitness to improve my look, but actually just generally to feel better, right? As I used to have quite a lot of insecurity about the way I looked. However, after, a year and a half, I would say, of just sort of training and stuff, I got into better shape than what I was before, but I still felt really off. And it really didn't click as to what that was. And I realized it wasn't actually anything to do with my physique and the stuff I was eating, or not so much of than I thought. And a lot of it was more so, yeah, sure, maybe I wasn't physically overweight, but I would say that I was probably more so mentally overweight. As in I had so much information, so much content, so much stuff that I was trying to consume every single day. And this, although, at the time didn't really seem like much, or didn't really seem like much of an issue, it's the stuff which I started to slowly notice over and over when I'd spend too much time on video games, when I'd start the day, consuming too much content, or my average screen time would be at least 5, 6 hours a day. And this is the stuff I really wasn't as conscious of, and I don't think enough people are actually even aware of either. In the sense that there is only so much information that you can be processing every single day. And I think a lot of it as well is down to boredom, it's down to, right, well, where are you putting your energy and your focus? Because there's only so much of that in the day, right? There's only so much you can do. I mean, this is where you see people talking about, oh, the whole 12-hour workday. And it's like, well, the work you do at the beginning, the first couple hours of the day is not going to be the same quality towards the very end. And this, I think, can go similarly for just, your energy and focus throughout the day, right? If you're waking up to, do whatever it might be, and you're spending an hour or so consuming content in the morning, you're already depleting that energy and focus that could have been used for other meaningful things. But again, I think a lot of it is just being very conscious of your time and your energy, because what I have started doing and am still trying to improve at is being so much more conscious of where my time and energy is going. Where ideally speaking, in the morning, it's just focusing on doing work, right? And ideally, I'm not going to be consuming really any content or any form of stimulation until later in the day, maybe sort of after 5 in the evening, just because I know that when I would start my day with things that were overstimulating, it made the work, or at least trying to stick with the work that was meaningful to me, far harder to do long term. So, one thing I will say is that if you haven't actually considered it yet, consider if actually you are feeling mentally overweight, in terms of, perhaps you just feel brain fog, perhaps you just feel always sort of quite sluggish and tired all the time, perhaps even though you're eating relatively well and your health is relatively good. Because again, I just think so many people nowadays could really do with having more boredom in their life, right? I mean, part of me almost believes it's like the courage to be bored, where you can actually add more spaces in your life, perhaps when you're walking, when you're cooking or eating, where you're not actually playing music in the background, where you're not listening to this thing or watching this thing. And it sounds pointless in the moment, but it's that sort of stuff that's just going to allow your brain to get a bit of a break. But let me know if you've experienced this, and we'll chat soon.